Well, today I'm going to share with you a very dark deck, and it's dark in more than one way. It is the Tarot V. V is for vampire. This is definitely a shadow work vampire deck. It's by Alejandro Colucci, and this is a Los Scarabeo production. And Los Scarabeo makes basically two different types of boxes. They have the cheap tuck box, which always breaks down, and they have these really heavy-duty two-piece boxes that are very durable, and the cards usually very thick inside these boxes. Now, Amazon was kind enough in this plastic bag here, it's kind enough to drop this, and they damaged this corner quite severely, as you can see. Now, I don't care about the aesthetics of this box, and what was great about the box, though, is that it did indeed protect the cards. I'm going to pull the rather large, long top off of it, and if we look inside, we see a guidebook, and Tarot V, and this guidebook, typical of Los Scarabeo, it's in several different languages. It doesn't get into a lot of specifics on each card. It's just some basic vampire information and then general meanings, of the cards. So I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to take the cards out, and I'm going to set the box aside. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're going to begin now. This cardstock, once again, it's very thick. Look at the thickness of this deck. Quite thick. Here's a conventional tarot deck. You can see it's substantially thicker, probably a quarter up to a third thicker than your typical tarot. Okay, the cardstock is glossy, which is typical of what comes out of these two-piece Los Scarabeo boxes. It's glossy and very thick. Now, the only thing about glossy cards is that if you store them and don't use them for years and decades, they do have a tendency to get sticky for some reason. Moisture in the air, I don't know what it is. But they can get sticky. But hopefully that won't happen with this deck. Well, here's our title card. And the back of the card is very vampire-ish, I would say. Like an inverted cross, whatever they call it. And some blood work on the door there. And that's the title card. Let's get into the deck. Okay, the deck is very dark content-wise. The figures appear ghoulish. The vampires are, they appear ghoulish, but the coloring is very dark and dismal. This is our Fool card, and as you can see, the face of this young lady or man, I think it's a lady, she doesn't look very appealing. She's in a very dark robe, and it's just, it leaves me searching for reasons why this would be so dark. But our magician is coming out of a grave, and he does indeed, I can see he has a sword here. He has a little brass cup here. Let's see if I can find a wand. Well, let's see, I'm not sure. But this is probably the cup here, this tipped over chalice there. I can't find a wand or a pentacle on this card. I'm not sure what he's holding up right there. I'm not quite sure. But a very dark magician. Okay, for a high priestess, we have a very, intimidating face there. I certainly wouldn't want to meet her on a date or anything. I don't like her black wings. She's like a fallen angel, and I just don't like it. But that's the high priestess. And our empress, a little more human-like here. She's probably a little better of an empire. She's got more empathy than high priestess, that's for sure. Okay, so she's seated at her throne, and she's a little bit enlightening. And our emperor isn't too bad of a guy either. He's looks very masculine in this picture here. He has a very large dynamic sword, kind of medieval, I would say. And I like his throne here in the background. And there's something going on here with light, but I'm not sure what it is. But it pops out at you because the card is so dark. Okay, this is my least favorite Hierophant I've ever seen. This guy looks like he's definitely a fallen angel. He's got black wings, and he's got pointed ears, and he has a threatening face, just very menacing. Okay, and he's seated upon a throne. I think this is the top of his throne right there. Okay, for our lovers, it's kind of shocking in a way. It shows an angelic being up here and a priest. And a priest and a lady. I'm not sure what's going on between them, but that's our lovers card, so that's rather odd. But priests are kind of odd anyways. Okay, next we have our chariot, and we have an old-fashioned hearse being pulled by two horses. And that's the way they used to do it, folks. In the old days, they used to have horse carriages with the coffin or casket in the back. And that's our chariot. This strength card is very odd. We have a little girl here, and she is not afraid of this vampire that's levitating off the ground. So in lieu of a lion, we have a very menacing vampire here, but the little girl isn't afraid. Look at that expression on her face. She knows she has control of this creature, so she's in charge. Okay, our hermit, very skinny, first of all, but I wouldn't trust this guy for mystical insight or anything. He's a very weird vampire. He looks, he's probably pretty much dead. And there is a dark cloaked figure with a hood bowing before him. So I don't know how I can't just relate to that hermit at all. Okay, we have a wheel of fortune. We have, it looks like a bird up here with something in its beak. And we have three figures on the wheel. And yeah, it's not too bad. It's a pretty good wheel card. Okay. Then we have our judgment. And let's see, judgment. Oh, this judgment is down on its back. You can see, I believe there's scales here. Okay, I believe that scales going on. So something has knocked down justice here, this vampire. And just a very dark, evil vampire, I guess. Okay, our hanged man is kind of bizarre. We do have a hanged man here. And if you really want to see this face, I'm going to flip it over. It looks like something from a 50s sci-fi movie, like Gort or something like that, you know, from outer space. But very weird and very dark in more ways than one, hanged man. And death, well, death is a little more conventional here. We have a skeleton, although he's bloody, and nothing else really going on the card, just the bloody skeleton. Okay, then we have temperance. Okay, we have temperance, and we have a vampire with wings, and he's knelt down on the edge of a waterfall, so you better be careful there. Oh, he can fly, so I guess he doesn't have to worry about that. Okay, our devil card. This should be interesting, huh? Well, the devil is kind of a typical devil with weird horns coming out of the side of his head. And it doesn't appear any more threatening than these vampire dudes that and I've been looking at. Now, he does have a pitchfork, so that's interesting. Obviously, he's in hell, because we have a Dante's Inferno going on here. Okay, our tower card. Let's see. We have a tower. It's pretty good. We have a winged statue here with missing its head. And we have 3 figures at the bottom. I don't know if they're monks or who they are. But that's our tower card. Okay, for our star card, we have a starry background here. We have a figure looking out of an old dilapidated building. He's looking down, and that's our star card. Okay, for our moon card, it should be pretty good in a vampire deck, I guess. We do have a nice moon here. We have a lady who looks like she's screaming. I also detect blood here on the front of her nose and stuff. But that's our moon card. And then we have our sun card. And we have another screaming woman here. We do see the sun trying to peek through the clouds. And she's, well, I don't know what she's doing, but she's definitely a startling person to look at. Okay, then we have Judgment. Okay, here's Judgment. I see like a gated cemetery here. I see some tombstones and fog here, a lot of fog going on. And this guy is just, was in blood or is bleeding, and he's just making a blood trail there in the snow. Very strange. And finally, the World. And here we have a little bit of color at least. We have a gold sky here. We have a lady with 2 wands, and I don't see a globe or anything, but that's the World card. That's not too bad. You know, she's pleasant to look at anyways. She must not be related to the other characters, I'll tell you. Okay, I'm moving on to the Ace of Wands. I have a rather interesting tree here. A flock of blackbirds here in the background. And something going on right there in the center of the tree. Okay, our 2 of Wands. I have a moon here. I have a woman, and she's walking through, I believe, another cemetery. And interesting. I do like her gown. I think that's pretty classy. We have our 3 of Wands. We have an arched building here. We have a woman with a couple of candles and a wolf. How cool is that? I love seeing wolves and foxes on tarot cards. They just appeal to me. I have a dog, and he is 18 years old. 18. If he lives a few more months, he'll be 19. Amazing, but I don't know if he will. He's developing some health problems. Okay, our 4 of Wands. We have another arch here. And we have, well, what's going on here? Some type of energy is coming out of the ground here. And it's hard for me to see detail. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be when I was a younger guy. But that's why these dark cards are hard for me to see. Now, if I turn on my ring light, these cards are just going to reflect that light. So I left the ring light off. Well, this is our 5 of Wands. And very spidery type of guy here. So he looks like he's half skeletalized. I don't know. Strange vampires in this deck. Okay, here we get a little bit of color, finally. We've got some red going on here in our 6 of Wands. We have a warrior here with a bloody shield, and his horse has armor too. He has armor on his body and his helmet there. But notice the horses also have armor. That's quite interesting. Our 7 of Wands. We have a couple of figures here. Interesting. They look human, but they could be vampires. I'm not sure. But they're inside of what looks like a really nice place, like maybe a room in a castle, perhaps. Hey, our 8 of Wands. We have another devilish figure here, and he's got a long wing here on the back here, and he's half dressed. He's got a what do they call it? I don't know. It's a garment that they wear on the waist, but there he is. Okay, the 9. We have another typically dark card here. They use a lot of blood on this vampire deck. But here we have a woman, and she is walking downstairs, outside, I believe. Hey, our 10 of Wands. This guy looks pretty decent. I don't see any blood coming out of him. That's a nice change. There's a little red pendant here. Again, we have the moon going on here, and he looks like a gentleman and a scholar compared to those other people. Okay, we have our page. Wait a minute, was that, what card was, 10. This is the page. Okay, the page, we have another wolf, a very large wolf. I like this card. I like the lighting of the sky in the background, and I like the posturing of the page with her rather large wolf there. And she seems very confident and promising and positive. So we finally introduced that into the wands. Okay, our knights. The knight is on a gargoyle, okay, and he's another weird vampire dude with pointed ears, and he's on a very large gargoyle. I can't talk. Gargoyle, that's how you say it. And there's a lot of fiery energy happening. It's a wand suit, so we'd expect to see such. Okay, and the queen, we have another person with a bloody mouth, blood just dripping down her dress there. Not a very elegant queen, but she is indeed a vampire, so we have to give her that. And our king of wands here. This is somebody famous. I don't remember the name, but almost looks like Barnabas Collins from what was that called? Dark Shadows in the 60s, a black and white show. It almost looks a little like Barnabas Collins, but it's somebody else. If you remember who that is, let me know in the comments. Okay, moving on to cups. Okay, we have, looks like they're doing the old, let's share our blood routine, where they cut their fingers and put them together. And this is our ace. So it's quite interesting. I do like this. This deck is heavily into blood, so I can understand that. Okay, we have our 2. We have a rather attractive couple, even if they are vampires. Compared to the other people, they're pretty attractive. And there they are. That's our 2 of cups. Okay, for our 3, we have a lady here, and she is standing. I think she's standing. And she's looks pretty good too. She has a nice dark gown on, and she is outside. And then we have our 4. We have, now he looks just like this Victorian dude from the 1800s. And I rather like this picture. It's not intimidating. He looks like he's a gentleman and doing his thing there. Okay, we got a 5. We have activity happening at the top of the card with a couple of people. And then we have another graveyard here happening. So that's the 5 of cups. Coming up on the 6, we have another vampire with just finished a meal here, and she's dripping blood, but so typical. Okay, we got a 7. Oh, here we have a bright sky. How about that? We have a guy almost biblical, like he's holding his arms outreached, like he's communicating with God. I hope so. Anyways, there he is. We have our 8. We have an 8. We have a vampire that's also looking upward here. And she is doing okay, I think. This is a bizarre card, the 9 of Cups. We finally get some actual flesh tones here, for a change, instead of this dark crap. But here she is. She's just finished a meal, and she's kind of spooky, but very enlightening for this suit. And then we have a 10 of Cups, and look at that. Now, if you compare that with a 10 of Cups and the Smith Waite, quite a contrast. In fact, I think I have a card around here. I have a 10 of Cups somewhere. Yes, I do. Look at the stark contrast between Smith's work and this Alejandro guy. I mean, here we have a positivity and love and family, and here we have a very bleak figure, another weird vampire, whatever he is, and I don't see anything really positive happening in this picture. Okay, then we have our page, our Page of Cups. We have a darkly dressed man, and I believe that is a dagger or something, I think. But he's outside in that shot. Okay, our knight is on another gargoyle. Okay, gargoyles, I guess, are going to be knights in lieu of a horse. They're going to be on gargoyles. I can't say that. Why am I having a problem? Okay, so another old building here, and she's kind of dressed like she's ready to go disco dancing, I think. But and then we have our queen. Okay, we have a figure in the background here, and I think she might be his victim here. I think that he's a vampire and he's converting her into such a thing. She has a very naive white gown on, and I don't know what is going to transpire, but hopefully positive. And finally, our king. Our king, let me see here. His hand. He's got a glass of wine, I guess. I do like his hat with the feather in it. I think that's pretty cool. So the kings are pretty positive. Okay, moving on to Pentacles. This looks like The Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's an old black and white film from the 50s. And I think that inspired this picture that he drew here. So that's our Ace of Pentacles. Pretty good Ace of Pentacles card, I think. I do like the use of gold in that. And we have our 2, and we have lady in the old bonnet type thing. She's knelt down on the ground. She does have blood coming off of her face. Okay, then we have our 3 of Pentacles. I believe he's a vampire. That wouldn't surprise me. I don't see Pentacles on this card. They might be at the bottom here, but I can't see anything. Okay, we got our 4 of Pentacles. We have, he's getting bit by his girl there. So she's, or either he self-inflicted that and she's just licking the blood off, but he's kind of passed out. And this is interesting. This is like a curtain or something blowing in the breeze. So it's just kind of weird, how the wind just came at that appropriate time. Okay, then we have our 5, and we have another graveyard here with a tombstone, and he's pushing his sword into the ground, and we have an onlooker here in the background. Have our 6 of Pentacles. We have a rather stern-looking gentleman here, and card's so dark you really can't make out much details, but I do see the fire happening in the background. Our 7, we have, let me see here. I remember this card. I don't know. Oh, she's praying. Okay, she's an angelic being, and she is praying. So that's our 7 of Pentacles. Our 8, we have very weird eyes on this guy, and he's dripping blood, and just very strange looking eyes. I don't know. Okay, then we have a 9. We actually have a religious figure here. I don't know if he's a pope or what, but, well, he wouldn't be a pope. Clergy, I meant to say. Clergy. And he is not bloody. So he's battling the evil empire here. Okay, now we have our 10. And we have, I'm not sure what he's doing, but that's the 10. And our Page of Pentacles, we have a lady here. And let me see if there's anything going on. Oh, a wolf. Okay, there's a wolf right there. So that's pretty cool. The pages have wolves on them. That's neat. Of course, we have another knight with a gargoyle. And she's perched upon the gargoyle. Another ancient building. Pretty neat. Our queen, we have rather... She looks like she's stoned on acid. I don't know, but she's got like cross-eyed, and there she is. Okay, then our what card was that I just looked at? The Queen. This would be the King. Okay, this is the King of Pentacles, and he's a little more positive than the other figures in this suit. Here we have some type of religious artifact, whatever you call that. Moving on to swords, our final suit here. We have our Ace, have a very dynamic sword here being driven into the ground. Our 2, we have a couple of ladies here, and the 2 of Swords. And I don't see any swords on them, but that's the way this deck evolves. It just aren't, the suits aren't represented on the cards. Okay, then we have a 3, and I like this couple. They're kind of positive and put out good energy, I think, for this deck. But there's our 3 of Swords. Our 4, we have a figure lying down. We have a clergy or priest above her, perhaps praying for her, and he's holding on to her, and he's probably trying to help her and not become a vampire. Get unvampired, I guess. Okay, then we have our 5. We have a woman outside, probably in a cemetery, I would guess. But that's that. Our 6, we have a guy here, and he's walking through the beach, but he's in the water. We have a ship happening in the background there. Our 7 is, wow, this is a weird card. We have a very demonic looking dark figure here, like a devil, and very odd. Almost looks like something from like your worst nightmare when you were a kid. And there's something red going on over here. I'm not sure what it is, but that is our 7 of Swords. Okay, moving on to the 8. We have a figure here in a cemetery again, and it's very foggy, and we see the back of him, and he's strolling through the cemetery. Okay, the 9. Okay, the 9, we have another demonic-looking vampire here with wings, another fallen angel, I guess. And he's standing in water, apparently. And I don't know what he's up to, but... Okay, finally, the 10, we have rather jubilant figure jumping off of something, or is he sitting on something? He's either jumping or sitting. And he just has an interesting expression on his face, like, Wow. Let's try jumping off this ledge. Okay, then we have our page. And this page does not have a wolf. She's kind of a blonde gal there with a rather odd expression. And there she is. Okay, our knight, another gargoyle. And he's a gentleman with a really cool little ponytail there. And he's contemplating the meaning of the universe, I guess. Okay, we have our queen. We have a very beautiful woman in a very fancy white gown. And she doesn't look like she's a vampire, so that's cool. And finally, wrapping up the deck, we have the King of Swords. And we have another rather good-looking guy here, I guess. And he is standing outside a castle in the background. And he has his very long sword upright. And that wraps up the deck. So I know this is an odd experience with such a dark deck. It may appeal to some people, I'm not sure. But very good for shadow work, I'm sure, if you're into that. Anyways, this is a long video. Thanks for sitting through it. And I'll catch you on the next one. I got a more uplifting vampire deck I'll be doing next. So thanks again.